road win at Troy, a win which halted the Trojans' string of consecutive home opening victories at 25, which had included all the previous 21 occurrences under their head coach Larry Blakeney. This week, this gentleman's squad heads up to Stillwater, Oklahoma for a rematch of his very first game as Raging Cajuns head football coach, a game which the Cowboys won. Here to talk about last week's triumph over Troy and this week's impending matchup in Boone-Pickens Stadium against Oklahoma State, the head coach of Raging Cajuns football, Mark Hudspeth.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. I'll tell you, very excited for our football team to go on the road and win a very tough road game. You know, in college football, it's hard. It's hard to win on the road, and when you can go on the road to a place that's won their home opener for the last 25 years, that's a pretty daunting task sometimes. They take a lot of pride in that, and every year, obviously, it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And so, I think that's something they took a lot of pride in, that they work to do, and for our team to go in there and play the way they did, to not back down to a challenge, and find a way to win that football game. I was very proud of our team. I thought our guys had a great week of preparation. I thought the trip went well, and you know, for the second year in a row, we've had to beat those guys with a backup quarterback, and that does not make things any easier, I can assure you that. But the thing that does help is when you do have a quarterback like Terrence Broadway that prepares like he's a starter, and came in the game with a lot of confidence. Our team has a lot of confidence in him also, and that makes a big difference. So overall, I thought our special teams once again were very good as we held them. I think to their average starting field position was the 19-yard line. So if we can force teams to go that far every time they get the ball, we'll have a chance. And the second biggest thing to me was obviously the turnover battle. We didn't have any, and then we forced 3 and returned 1 for a touchdown. So that's always a big point of emphasis of our team, is taking care of the ball and trying to get some of those turnovers. So once again, very proud of our guys as we once again just try to take those baby steps into getting our program where we want to get it to. But now we got another tough challenge obviously coming up this week as we head to Stillwater. So with that, I'll open up any questions.
Mark, did you you got irritated late in the game with Hamilton's situation? Did you feel like he shouldn't have been tossed in that point?
You know, I didn't personally. I did not. I thought that the kid, if you watched the entire videotape, the kid had taken, to me, a lot of negative shots, and you know, probably was just very frustrated, as I was, and so didn't feel that quite warranted, you know, to that extent. That's for sure.
What's the status of that, and in terms of an appeal? Do you have any hopes for getting them available for?
Well, we're trying. I don't even know if you can appeal, but I'm still appealing. Then I'm going to appeal the appeal, and then, but nevertheless, I don't know. We're planning on not having him in our preparations, but we'll sort of see how it goes. I definitely think this is something that needs to be looked into.
We just heard the suggestion that maybe Blaine needs to take a little bit better attitude going into practice this week and take a look at Terrence being there. How close are those guys now? Are they even? Is there a job there to be had, or what?
It's still not. This is still Blaine's football team. We'll evaluate him, you know, today, but I think he's going to be fine tomorrow when we go out to practice. He looked even better in the locker room than what we anticipated after the game. So we'll wait and see. But like I said, Blaine's our starting quarterback. If we need Terrence again, I have no doubt that he'll be available and be ready. And it might be some situations throughout the game that arises where we want to get him on the field and get him a few snaps. But Blaine's our starting quarterback.
How has Blaine been attitude-wise the last few weeks?
Oh, it's been super. Yeah, he's been great. And obviously, I know he's disappointed, you know, when you get knocked out of a game, a big game like that you look forward to playing.
Coach, obviously you guys ran the ball extremely well. Yeah, I think you had 22 or 23 on passing plays all total for the game. Was that accumulation because you guys were running the ball so well? Obviously, you game plan to run the ball, and was that just a combination of you were running the ball so well that you wanted to continue to do that, or also maybe, you know, easing Terrence in there and giving him a little bit shorter playbook?
No, I tell you, it had to do as much as we thought we was getting some pretty good movement up front with our offensive line. And I thought our offensive line played pretty physical, pretty strong, opened up some nice creases for our backs. And then, you know, just when we did throw the ball, Terrence was very efficient. but it wasn't a deal where we was trying to be conservative. We were just trying to move the chains, and we felt like running the ball at that time was the best way to do that. We felt like the strength of their team was in the secondary, and we felt like we had better matchups at that point with at the point of attack with the defensive line.
Coach, one of the things going into this week's game is that you guys want to field for a lot of snaps. Obviously, they love to throw the ball around as well. And you guys, you said last week going into the game, you wanted to keep everything in front. I think you maybe had 3 plays over 20 yards, and that was it. So you were successful. But the downside is that you guys won a team over 100 snaps. So, looking at this week, what are we going to try to do a little bit different?
Well, we don't want to be on the field, over 100 snaps, that's for sure. But that's what a real fast-paced offense does. You look at the Arizona-Oklahoma State game this past week, both those teams were on the field 95 snaps apiece. Teams that are no huddle, really fast tempo teams, they're going to get their snaps. They're going to get more possessions. And it's not that's not about how many possessions, more snaps they get more possessions, and then the snaps add up. So sometimes it's hard to do a lot about that. You may get a 3 and out, they're going to get the ball, right back and get 3 more plays. So we've got to play better defensively all the way around, though. Even though we didn't give up many big plays, we still gave up a couple third downs we've got to convert on and not let them have a couple third and longs they converted upon. But Troy caught and threw the ball so fast. You're in that little deal of, do we rush? If we don't get there, then you're really vulnerable. Then if you don't rush very many and you drop everybody in the coverage, then obviously you've got to cover them for a long period of time because your quarterback's got all day. So hopefully we can find a way to do a better job of covering underneath routes, which I thought they did a nice job of. And we've got to get off the field a little bit sooner as a defense. And because we definitely want them guys on the field that many snaps. That makes it tough. So hopefully our game plan this week may be a little bit different.
Coach, against Troy, they had 5 different receivers with 55-plus yards. What adjustments do you have to make going into Oklahoma, considering they're known, or Oklahoma State, considering they're known as a pretty potent defensive team?
Well, I'll tell you, they're going to have playmakers. Even though they lost Whedon and their Blackman from last year, they've got guys that have been in that system. And they understand the system. They've been brought up through that system. They've been running it there for quite a while. So even though they got a young quarterback, he's learned from some very good ones. And so it's going to be a challenge. And for us, like last year, I thought our guys stepped up to that challenge in some ways. But nevertheless, we've just got to do a good job of keeping them in front like we've been doing, and understand that teams like Oklahoma State, teams like Troy that throw it 60 times a game, they're going to complete passes. That's no different to them completing a short pass as it is for some teams turning and hand the ball off. That's the same difference. But the key is not letting them have a big play and keeping everybody in front.
You talked about that, the hesitancy to really kind of bring the guys because the passes come in such frequency. That being said, Sean Southard came off a game 200 yards, you limited him to 30. What does that say about the interior, those 2 linebackers and the 3 down linemen? And then secondly, I know Boris Anyama got a lot of extended playing time. Just your thoughts about his play.
Boris, talk about Boris first, he probably played way more than we wanted Boris to play. When we went back and watched the film, we probably, if they could do it over again, probably wouldn't have played quite that many snaps because he had limited practice last week. And but he's so fast. He's got that extra gear, and so we wanted as much speed on the field as we could have on the field, and so ended up leaving him on the field, and probably a little bit more than what we had. First part of the question was
About the interior play.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't bring the blitz, just about
Yeah.
the interior play, able to check down the run.
I thought our 3 guys up front did a really good job stopping the run. We didn't get as much pressure on the quarterback as we would have liked. We did end up getting a few sacks, but nevertheless, their guy had some time to throw the football and find his guys. And Kenny Enfield over there does a great job, and they was able to get some yards. But nevertheless, I was glad that we kept them in front of us and didn't give up the big ones. But I thought our inside linebackers at times played well against the run. And, for us, we always want to stop the run first and try to control the pass. And I thought for the most part we did. We bent a little bit and bent a little more than I would like to, but we didn't break a whole bunch. And they got the early score, and once we settled down, we did much better. Then they got the late score with a few minutes to go in the game. But other than that, I thought our guys played pretty well.